Review.
Cowboys have New England coming up this weekend, 4-1, and looking really, really good. Tonight, there's, of course, Thursday night football, ESPN, Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. Interest to the Cowboys because, the way that they're playing, you start to not get too far ahead of yourself, but I do know that I've seen a lot of the chatter about, okay, what record's going to give them home field advantage? Not even a third of the way through the season, but I can see it's fun, isn't it, if you're a part of a team and a fan base and you start to watch what others are doing that you are interested in, who are part of the upper echelon and have been, including the defending champion Buccaneers, where Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, joins us now on Sikkim 365 Radio. So if you're a Cowboys fan, and I know it's 5 games into a season, things can happen, injuries can happen, attrition can happen, things can change. Other teams can get better, but tonight's game, Philadelphia and Tampa. Cowboys feel like maybe if you're a fan, that this could be something that gets fun at the end of the year and home field advantage. Philly's in your division, and I know that they struggle. Who would you rather see win if you're a Cowboys fan?
Oh, good question. I hadn't thought of that. I would say you want to take care of your division first and foremost. And so even though Tampa Bay has beaten the Cowboys, they've got the same record the Cowboys have right now, right?
Yep.
So I would think that the more you distance yourself in the division, then that means that you're getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, you got to win your division. That's the first thing you want to tie up. But if you have the ability at the end of the year, you look around, okay, good. Let's try to see if we can get home field advantage, okay?
Yeah, and you went on the road and basically had the Buccaneers beaten except for 1 minute and 24 seconds, right? So you would feel good about if you had to go there again. I don't think that bothers this team. And now we'll see, though, David, because the next 2 games are on the road. Sunday against the Patriots, after the bye at Minnesota, a night game, which is always hard. Especially when you got a roof over your head to play in Minnesota. And you're playing 2 of the better defensive coordinators in the league. And I know they're the head coaches, but to me, they're the defensive coordinators. So I think this will be a good 2-game test for this Cowboys offense.
Mickey, what's the biggest difference you've seen with the Cowboys of years past that would have an injury like a DeMarcus Lawrence and spiral out of control, and it would just be a thing where they just could never fill that gap, or a guy suspended like Lyle Collins, and then they've got a problem, and this group of guys in particular that really can work the next guy up mentality?
Well, it's been a while on the offensive line since they've had a backup come in and play as well as Terrence Steele has, which has been kind of surprising because as a rookie, undrafted free agent last year, he wasn't all that good. But I think he's made strides. And here's the other thing I think they've done. They've helped him out. They haven't just turned him loose for 68 snaps a game, one-on-one with the other team's best defensive lineman rushing against the pass. So I think they got a little wiser. I think Kellen Moore has done a nice job of finding him help. And it hasn't always been a tight end over there or 2 tight ends over there. Sometimes it's 2 tight ends to the other side, and the defense has got to overload to the other way, which leaves Steele more one-on-one situations if it's a pass play or a run play. So I think they better adapt it to not having a starter in there. But at least this year, it's only 1 starter, unlike last year when there was 3 starters missing at times. At least for 6 games when Zach Martin went out. And as for DeMarcus Lawrence, I don't think they've compensated for him, to tell you the truth, Paul. Their pass rush, they get pressure, but they haven't had the sacks. And I think they miss him dearly out there. Let's remember, this defense is only ranked 25th in the league and 31st against the pass. So they've had some young guys to step up. I get it. But I don't think they've replaced DeMarcus Lawrence.
Mickey, how are the Cowboys on the health front heading into this week?
Well, Trayvon Diggs hasn't practiced yet this week. He's got a left ankle that he sprained in the game. I think one of the things they're trying to do is let him rehab and try to get him the game on on Sunday. So I think his big test will be Saturday when they have their last, practice. Used to be the last practice on Friday, walk through on Saturday. Now you walk through on Friday and have the last practice on Saturday. So I think that'll be big for him to see just where he's at going into the game. Also, DeMonte KZ, their starting safety, has been out with a hip this week. He says that he should be able to go, but guys always say they should be able to go. And then this one, somewhat concerning, Tyron Smith was limited in practice today with a sore neck, and that was what kept him out. He had the surgery last year to take care of that, so we'll see where that one goes. The other thing I think that's going in their favor is some of these guys are getting close to being able to return. They started a couple of the guys that were on short-term IR. They've already designated them to return. So Calvin Joseph and tight end Sean McEwen have started practicing this week, which means they have 3 weeks to decide if they want to activate them or keep them on IR.
Mickey Spagnola with us Thursdays, 4:30. Cowboys in New England. It's a team they haven't played a lot. It's been a while. Belichick, obviously, we know his history, but things change when you lose a franchise Hall of Fame, maybe the greatest quarterback of all time. Do you still think that each year he's worth an extra couple of wins no matter who he has on his roster?
I think from a defensive standpoint he is. And to me, David, going into this game, I think this is maybe the grand litmus test for this Cowboys offense that's been rolling along, averaging 34 points a game. Almost 400 yards or more than 400 yards a game, the number 2 offense in the league. But somehow, some way, no matter, what his personnel is, Belichick seems to be able to dial up schemes to confuse offenses. I know the weather was bad a couple of weeks ago when they played Tampa Bay, but they held Tom Brady to 19 points and no touchdown passes. So somehow, some way, he always comes up with something. We'll see how versatile this Cowboy defense really is. They're the 5th-ranked defense right now, and I know they've played some cupcakes. But again, he always seems to disguise something and confuse people. And that goes back to days as the defensive coordinator with the Giants when they were winning Super Bowls in 86 and 90. So this will be a good test for this offense to see if they can outduel the master.
He always takes away the thing that you do to do the thing you want to do. He always takes away A so you can't do B. Or he takes away B so A doesn't matter. It's whatever he figures is going to mess you up the most. It's really brilliant to kind of watch him, isn't it, Mickey?
Yeah, it is. And, talking with Everson Walls, who's on our Mix Shots podcast here on DallasCowboys.com during the week, he played for Belichick that Super Bowl year in 90. When he was the defensive coordinator with the Giants. And then he played for him also a year or two with Cleveland. And his point is that Belichick looks at what you do best and says, okay, I'm going to take that away from you and then see if you can beat us doing your next best thing. So I'm not sure what the Cowboys do best, and I don't think it comes down to either take away the run or take away the pass because they've been pretty good at both. So maybe it's taking away what you do best in the passing game or what you do best in the running game, and then ask you to do something different in the running game. I was reading last week, or I guess it was today, what they did against Tampa Bay, and they did a lot of disguising of the defenses, like bringing safeties and dropping linebackers, playing more linebackers instead of defensive linemen. He has a way of trying to confuse the quarterback, so he's got to hang on to the ball a tick longer to figure out what in the world they doing out there. But you're right. Somehow, some way, he comes up with a method to be able to slow down a defense, and he's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah, and we have about a minute here, Mickey, but to me, that's what makes this Cowboys offense, when everyone's healthy, even with Gallup out, so dangerous, or Collins out. I don't know what they do best, run the ball or pass the ball, because they do both very, very damn well.
No, absolutely. And like they're the number 2 offense in the league and they're the number 2 running offense in the league. And they're, second in scoring. So you're right. And I think if they can go up there and continue to play offense the way they've been playing so far, then I think you really got to take this team seriously. I realize it's only 5 games in. They're 4-1. But again, those next 2 games, they're coming up against defensive coordinator wizards in Belichick and Zimmer. Let's see if they can continue to do this. And if they can, then maybe you can go ahead and buy your playoff tickets, okay?
All right, Mick. Thank you, buddy. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com with us. Been with us for quite some time. In fact, back in the early 90s, started doing a segment with him. All right, coming up next, Craig Smoke's off the radar, then his sister, Jennifer Smoke, in what could be a full throttle meltdown. And I saw the chatter yesterday about you couldn't wait for that segment. Paul, she is in a